They're so cute. I'm like, really cute. Oh,
Hello.
Hello. We
hi.
are live.
Yes, you
Holly, you are
are.
welcome everybody. I mean, I hope we have. I know it's always like kind of tough during the day. I always try to do sprints during the day if I'm going to host them, just because my evenings are nuts. But I know that it doesn't work for a lot of people who have jobs they have to go to. So,
I think
welcome everybody for being here with us. And
Yeah, I
yeah,
try
just
to do like daytime sprints if I can pack up on other people's, but I don't do them a lot. Like I only really do daytime sprints if there's like readathons going on. Then I will make exceptions. But just with I've got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, so they will randomly pop up and I will randomly mute. And so
I
yeah,
didn't know you had a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. That's wonderful. Those are fun ages. They were fun for me, but of course, I'm
are
looking
they?
back on it. I know a lot of people say they're not fun, but I thought they were fun.
They're adorable.
Yeah,
They are.
And I
And
like
it's good
daytime
for
sprints. Daytime sprints actually seems to be good for a lot of the hosts because we're all in different areas. So
yeah.
I'm happy that you had an early one because I kept wanting to schedule for like the evening and I realized like I'm able to hop on before work. So I love this.
and we are here in Europe. We get so happy that we can actually be live, and it's not 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. It's actually
That was something that
after work
Holly
time.
had said too. Yeah,
Mm.
Hey
that's really
Joe.
Yeah, and I think there's like a lot of participants in Europe too, so it just works out really well. Like that's what I did once upon a readathon. We tried to have a bunch of daytime ones too, just to be like inclusive of everyone around the world, you know. So.
yeah.
And Europe is on it in the Discord. I feel like you guys are like in there earlier. I'm like, I can't keep up. I've been sleeping lately. So you guys are on it.
That's right, Daniela. That is right. And we also have
Now,
Wallflower, right, Hannah?
Yes,
Hannah, are you
wallflowers.
and the
Yes,
blue
and we're gonna come
stockings.
back.
Blue
We're gonna come
Stocking
And
Patricia,
the blue
right?
stockings. We are very
Blue
active
Stocking.
during daytime in Europe. Yeah, as well.
Yes.
Paris, how lovely. Oh my
Nice. I've only
gosh.
been to Paris once, and it was at the train station.
Um,
I've
Oh, and
never
the
it's
been.
7
airport.
p.m. Yeah, it's 7 p.m. in Norway too.
Oh wow.
I'm
I
so
lived in
glad this
Paris
works for
for
so many
college.
people over here. Yeah.
It really does. Like I was excited.
Team blue
You don't need to be
stocking.
sorry, Polly.
Yay.
I mean, obviously, me and Tiffany are going to win. Our group is going to win, but
That's what's
They
fun about this
wish.
readathon
I
is
told
everybody
you, they
wins.
wish.
Everybody wins. Everyone gets a match. So
Yes. Oh my god. And are you guys loving the society papers? Because I'm living for the society papers and all the graphics. Just the whole storyline has been like a highlight for me. It is so fun.
yeah,
I've loved them.
yeah.
They've
It's
been
been
so great.
Maggie is so creative and so inventive. Like I think she like the one of the first ones she sent me over to me to look over, and I was like, it's wonderful. And she was like, are you sure? And I was like, you're basically perfect.
She's really done an incredible job on this. So before we talk too much more, let's introduce everybody because just so everybody knows who's who, and I will put the channel links in the description or Instagram links for everybody. So Hannah, you can go first.
I'm Hannah Blackwell, and I have been on YouTube, on BookTube for just over a year. I just hit my year mark in June, July, something like the end of June, maybe. I talk about romance, fantasy, and then like some stuff in between. But I would say like most of what I read is romance, specifically like fantasy, paranormal, monster. But I do like historical romance too, and I do read regular fantasy, epic fantasy, and like weird fantasy, and some thrillers and horrors in between, especially in fall.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love Hannah's videos. She's great.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, Patricia, your turn.
Yeah. So I'm Patricia. I am just on Instagram. My romance has no limits, and basically,
Oh, wonderful Instagram, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it.
and I basically read romance, fantasy romance, paranormal, sci-fi, mafia, dark. Yeah, yeah. So I'm on basically in these genres, and a bit on fantasy as well, but that's not a lot. And I'm in Norway, although I'm from Portugal.
Oh, I love that.
That's amazing.
I
That is
love
amazing. That is so cool.
So
Okay, Tiff, your turn.
I'm Tiffany. I go by Tiff Talks Pages on YouTube and Neverland Pixie on Instagram. I primarily read romance. This year I've been reading a little bit more thrillers and trying to add some horror, trying to hone my tastes in those genres.
Well, we need to chat some because I do the thriller horror some, but I don't talk about it much. But like,
Oh yeah, we need to do some buddy reads. I'm definitely a fan of. I'm always honored to be on Crystal's channel. I think a lot of the reason why I even have a channel is because I fell in love with her vlogs. I started watching her vlogs and felt like, okay, I could probably do this. I could probably add some B-roll. They're definitely my favorite thing to film. And Patricia does not just have an Instagram; it's stunning. Go check her out. I love it. And congratulations on 1 year. That is huge. I didn't know it's been a year. So congrats.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, Crystal. I love you.
I love you too. I'm happy that everybody is here. Hey, Maggie. Thank you for stopping in. Hello.
Do all the fun sciencey things and teach those kids right.
Marrying Winterborn is such a good one. Is this your first read of that, Jessalyn? You'll have to let us know.
I've not
I
read.
love Winterborn.
It's a stern
What kind of book
government
is it?
daddy.
Like, I mean, I know it's historical, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Daniela,
Part of
we
the
are
Ravenel
everywhere. We are spread everywhere.
I love that. Though.
we moved from Portugal to absolutely everywhere.
Hi, Beck. How are you?
I need to do that.
Yes, Polly. Yeah. I'm just trying to learn a little bit more about what I like. Well, okay. Well, speaking of today, I'm going to be reading an alien romance today because I'm buddy reading it with Avery from Ava's Romance Books. We're in the third in the series, and I'm loving it because he's like a barbarian, alien shifter, kind of the leader of his clan.
That's the
And-
Varaxia one, right?
Yes, it's a Varaxia one, so it's taken to Saesor. I absolutely loved the second book. Was even better. It really was. It was standout. It was even better than the first book, just because of all the like emotional beats. So this one I'm loving, and I want to make some like headway because she's definitely ahead of me. So I'm gonna be reading that for our sprint.
What's the title of that one again, Tiff?
Taken to Saesor. S-A-S.
Okay. I know I bought the audiobook for that because it was on sale. I saw somebody months ago like review it on Instagram and talk about how like emotional it was, and I was like, oh, okay. So, and then I saw you and a few other people talking about it. So I haven't started it yet. It's just been sitting in my library, like, you know.
The first one or the third one?
The one I have is Taken to Saesor, so I guess
that's good too, and that's the last audiobook. I think there are only 3 out, so I'm thoroughly enjoying. I might buy it. I haven't bought it. I've been reading it on Kindle Unlimited, so I'm hoping maybe I'll get the audiobook because it's the last one that I can listen to. And Taken to Nobu, really, I love Taken to Varaxia, just the way that he just like gives the agency of a woman that was like who's hybrid on this like moon that's being invaded and quite frankly like, you know, harassed and accosted by these aliens, and the way that he just like actually places her right by his right hand side and like not allows for her agency but just like fosters it. It was just great. And then the second one took me completely out, and then now this one we have a differing in cultures. He's a barbarian. I like Norse mythology, so that feels like it's a little bit woven in there. And like here she is teaching him, you know, about consent. Consent's a very interesting, like clever conversation. And I'm loving it. So she's surprising me with this series. I'm swooning.
I love when you can put like an author puts a little bit of some like important conversations into their books, especially I always find it really interesting when they do that with like fantasy, paranormal, monsters, or aliens, like what I call it's basically what is that word? Speculative. I call everything I like. It's speculative romance, and I always like when they can put something like an important conversation in the real world into that, and I always find it really interesting. I want to read that. That's a BIPOC author too, right?
Yes. And Bex makes a good point in the comments. The first book, there's a lot of terminology and getting situated in the world, because our heroine in the first book is an engineer and she's a tinkerer. So I totally understand with that. Definitely in the beginning, it's a lot of like world building for sure.
No, I think that what Hannah was saying about how you like how they sort of have something to say about like modern world issues I love seeing that in either like fantasy, paranormal, even I don't read monster romances really, but if I did, I would hope to see that in there, because that's such a standard in typical fantasy books. That's one of the reasons why fantasy exists, is to examine our world through the lens of, well, what if our world was like that? And I love seeing that brought into the romances like that too.
If you like that in fantasy, you need to read Grace of Kings. Sorry.
Is that the Richard Kinlew? Oh, I want to read that for sure.
Yeah, I really like choosing Theo because of that.
Yeah,
because you have that twist.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a great. Okay, so what is everybody reading? And then we'll go ahead and get started for our sprint here when we're done. I'll post the comments to see what everybody's reading while you guys go ahead. I'll go last, so Hannah, you can go first.
Okay, so I'm technically reading Heir of Fire. I'm listening to it on my audiobook, so I might be able to listen to that some if I do some cleaning, which is what I need to do. I have things to do. I need to do the things. So I might listen to that, probably.
I just finished Feathers from the Sky from Jess Weisskopf, and I am going to do the same as Polly. I'm going to start An Earl to Remember by Stacey Reid.
I've heard wonderful things about her.
So I'm hopeful.
Okay.
Everybody enjoyed their arcs, didn't they? I can't wait.
Yeah. Oh, we already showed that one. Okay, let's see. Catherine, I love that you did that. That's amazing. Okay, Tiff, what are you? Oh, you said what you were reading, right?
Yeah, Taking the Sassor. And Mel's reading our buddy read 'em. I'm buddy reading Reforged by Seth Haddon with her too, and she's ahead of me now. I'm gonna catch up.
Okay, I'm trying to find. So I just finished rereading Belladonna, and I was just like trying to find the audiobook that I wanted to start, because I don't know what to start. But I think I'm going, okay, I'm sorry. I was just going through my Libby library because I'm like, I know this book is on here. I'm going to start the Book of Gothel. I don't really know what it's about. I believe it's a fantasy Rapunzel retelling.
So it's actually a like villain origin story about Mother Gothel, and it is a slower paced historical fantasy that discusses a lot of like old religion, like paganism versus new religion, and lighter on the fantasy, very slow paced. So if you like Bear and the Nightingale, which I know you do, and let's see, it's like a Spinning Silver or like a Juliet Marillier, then it's those vibes.
I'm excited. I'm very excited. That sounds like everything that I want. Like, An Earl to Remember, is that the book you're talking about, Polly and Patricia?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely didn't hate it. I mean, like, I feel like even a Stacey Reid that's not my favorite is still a really good book. You know, like that's how I feel about some Lisa Kleypas. Like a bad Lisa Kleypas is still a really good book. You know, so like it's just not my very favorite by her. But
yeah, but we'll still have a good time, I'm sure.
Yeah, you will for sure.
I can't wait to read it. She dropped the last two, Wolf and the Wallflower and A Matter of Temptation. Oh my god.
They're so good.
I'm listening to that in audio when I'm running, so I'm listening.
I wish I could run.
I'm an audiobook girl while running too. And my friend's like, how can you do it? And I'm like, I can, and I'm not even going to question it. I'm getting my cardio in. Leave me alone. It works, right? I'm like, when you find a hack or like something, it's just a new way. You were talking about this, Crystal, where like it's just a new way for me to like revamp what I'm already doing and like find a way to trick myself and like have fun with it again. Instead of being like, I'm just on the Stairmaster. Like, I'm like, cool, I never tried. I always listen to music. And I'm like, the audiobook's working. So I'm sweating out this hair and I'm making it work. Yeah. So I'm definitely doing audiobooks while running too. And I love it. I'm like, let's go.
Scenes, when you're running, you just run faster. You just go,
right?
You don't even notice.
Yeah, you just zone. Right now I'm on the treadmill because it's been 120 outside. But I prefer to run outside because I think it kind of it distracts me a little bit. I'm not so focused on the time, on the incline, on all of that, and I can just I like that.
Yeah.
Like what I do to get my cardio done is like I watch something like a show. Like I don't really watch TV much, but if I'm like really into like a show or an anime, like I only let myself watch that while I'm doing cardio because like my eyes have to have somewhere to go or else they will look at the time that I have left,
I'm so impressed by you guys.
On the treadmill, I actually used to save my booktube videos.
Yeah, I do.
From everyone.
Yeah.
And do that. But when I'm running outside, because I'm in Norway, I need to enjoy while I can before it gets too dark and cold. Then it's my treat listening to the audiobook. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm liking that. Stairmaster is like where I have my procedural shows, which like that's all because it hurts. It still hurts. And so like I'm like, okay, procedural. But the things that sucks with procedurals, but I also love them, is because it's tied up in the end, but then there's also like some cliffhanger. So like when I was doing like SVU, I'm like, I had to make sure I didn't hear it until the boom, boom, otherwise I had to stay. So, because it's like once you get drawn in, you're stuck. So I would say those for that. But now it's been running however I can get it in. And I've been liking it, so I'm not gonna watch it.
When you did that, I immediately thought of like the Sesame Street one. Because that's what I see now. It's like, and they have the one where it just does it over and over again.
That's like my favorite one.
That episode. It's just like, doo-doo. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Going to work is a workout. It is that is a workout.
Yeah,
okay.
It is for sure. Okay, shall we sprint, y'all? Shall we sprint? We're gonna do. This is just gonna be a short sprint today, because I can only do sprints. I can't do these 3-hour sprints, y'all. I'm so sorry. But we're gonna do just one sprint and then we'll come back and chat. So we're gonna do a 30-minute sprint. We'll come back at 11:50 my time, I guess.
You're good. I'm feeling sprinty, so I might just like start some on my channel too after these if people still want to sprint. So
that's great. Yes, please. If she's going to do that, I mean, y'all should go subscribe to Hannah anyway because she's wonderful. But and I also don't have the cute little cat. I'm just gonna pin a comment. So we'll go ahead and sprint, and we'll pop back and talk about what we read after. Okay. Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Oh shoot. Okay.
How'd everyone do?
Yeah, how did everyone do?
I did well. It's always an abrupt cut for me during sprints. I'm like, wait, but I'm still enjoying it.
I'm enjoying it.
Are you? Did you start from the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm enjoying it.
Was there a prologue in this one?
Yeah, there is a introduction to what's going to happen. Yeah, and it's with sisters, so it was really nice and cozy, and so that was nice.
Oh.
And I already don't like the mistress, but we'll get there.
Give us the deeds, Richard.
You guys are both reading the third Varaxia book, or?
She's reading An Earl to Remember by Stacey Reid.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, and I'm just dying to know.
I need to try Stacey Reid. I've heard amazing things.
She's so good.
Yeah.
She's probably in my top 5 historic, for sure, top 5, maybe top 3 historical romance authors. Like, she's just so good.
And you're gonna find some unique historical romance plots, I would say.
Cool.
Yeah, I would say that the way she writes, you basically are thrown in that time.
Yeah.
So it feels historical. So it feels sweet, at least in the beginning with the sisters. It felt really sweet, and so
I also like how her books feel very historical, but I think that she does a good job of making her heroines feel very relatable to like modern day readers. I think that can be a hard balance. And I like all types, I really do. But I think some authors can go a little too far where it feels too removed in the past, and some that feel way too modern, like it could be a contemporary. And I think Stacey Reid gets that balance. I feel like she gets it pretty much perfect. Even like she deals with a lot of modern day issues, but she puts them in a historical setting with a historical plot, and I just think she's fantastic.
Yeah, in this case, she's a cook, so you can see that there's some independence there from her side, but she's still in that historical environment. So yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah,
I love the point you're making, Daniela.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Daniela. I like that a lot. They're so readable. Very easy to get sucked into, I think. Hello, Candace. I'm going to pop back up and talk about what all of you guys have been reading, so let us know what you read.
I saw Immortals. Is that IAD, Immortals After Dark, which I have to continue. I feel like I sit down and finish it. Like I want to say like this is the year I'm going to finish IAD, and I always say that.
I know, right? Like I think I only have, and like I read Monroe, but Cressley said you only had to read, there was a specific books you had to read Monroe, which was the most recent one. And I did that, but then I need to go back and read like 2 more.
I bought McCree. Like I was buying them, and I'm like, girl, you need to go back, okay, to like book 4, maybe read book 4 so I can reread book 4, and then just continue on. Because I know Justin's favorite is Sweet Ruin. I still haven't read it. I haven't got
That's a good one.
I need to. Yeah. I'm not far behind, so I'm like, I have got to get through this series.
McCreeve is one of my favorites. Is that like the original with the different colored on the raised lettering?
Oh yeah.
I love it.
found it at a used bookstore, and I have a flag for her name at my local like used bookstore because she was like, "Well, are there any authors?" And I'm like, "Cressley Cole. If there's anything from her that comes in, anything from Beverly Jenkins that comes in, so I have certain like authors." And I just went over there and grabbed it.
I really like that series too, though I've only read a couple of the Arjanu series. They're very fun. I like that's like the vampire, right? Kristen. I want to read more of Lindsay Sands' tarot novels. Let's see.
I love you.
So, Tiffany, how are you liking your book?
I'm loving it, and there's a language barrier. So, like, going back to like how I love how consent is being handled. It's very. I love that like the first word that she learns in their language is no, and I think like that's the first. And I love that he hears that legibly. Doesn't understand anything that she's saying. Loves her fire. That she's like fighting him, even though he's kind of. He believes like his people are sort of like rescuing them, but she learns no. And she learns how to say that she's saving herself in their language. And I just love it. I just love it. So I'm like, and he's like learning a lot. He's very stubborn, but and like reluctant to like change his ways, but he's doing it for her. I can't figure out why. Like so I'm eating it up. I'm eating it up. I'm loving it.
I'm excited to get to that series.
And how is it fire? Like
yeah, how was Air of Fire?
This is a turning point book, so I keep like wanting to check in with you.
So I've read a little bit more since our last sprints. But I haven't read any today. I did some dishes and I folded laundry. I'm trying to store my basil that I just finished dehydrating, and I gave my chickens some leftover strawberries from this morning, and I'm busy trying to get my stuff done. But I did not put my audiobook on.
That's okay. I did a little bit of online work, and then so the book of, I guess that's pronounced Gothel, is that right? Well, that's what I thought it was, and then I listened to the audiobook and she pronounced it much different. So, but I'm very intrigued.
Well, she probably pronounces it like Old Germany, like Old German. But generally, I just feel like it's Mother Gothel. That's how we refer to her. So, and I've only ever heard like other people say Gothel for when they're talking about it. So people will know what you're talking about if you say Gothel. So.
But I'm very intrigued. I only got like a chapter and a half, but I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited about it.
How did you like the introduction?
I liked it. I wasn't really expecting it to be in a modern day type.
The introduction, yeah.
Yeah, the introduction, but it was intriguing. I liked it. Yeah. Daniela, what book are you reading again? I forgot. 500-page book. That means extra points for Team Seductress.
Yeah, I'm throwing them down. I haven't been talking. I'm finalizing the last few books that I'm reading for the audio and color grant program. So I haven't been like talking about those books or like wanting to like rate them yet. But I'm throwing them in. I'm throwing them down for points. I know that. I throw them all down for points. I'm like BIPOC. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the vampires that Lindsay Sands, Temperament Linus in their model. That's a fun series. I really like it. I'm getting like, I know it's still August and like Tiffany said, it's 120 degrees. It's not that hot here. I think we're in like the high 80s here in Utah. But like, I'm ready for fall, so I want to read vampires.
That's the mood that I'm in. I'm like, I'm in an autumn mood. Like, what is it? The hurricane or that turned into a tropical storm has brought the temperature down. So now I'm like pretending it's like spooky season here.
Yeah.
Don't forget that Feathers from the Sky from Jess Weisskopf. It's vampires and vampires hunted.
Right. I'm very excited.
I just read it and I'm still, whoa. It was amazing. I really liked it. So I'm kind of new to romance. Been reading it for 3 years and so. And my background is more, melancholic, introspective, dark fiction. So it can be a bit about how people, just adapt to very traumatic normals, something like that would be interesting. And I can't stomach those things anymore after having kids. Those are gone days. But she picked some of the things that I used to love from those books into it. And you would never guess it from the start of the book, which is they are taking photographs because the photographer kind of selects them as a good match. I guess that's a thing in the US. You do that. And so it's kind of a dating thing. So they think they're a good match, so they do this photography session. And he
Or are you talking about
wants it-
online dating?
No, it's like there's a photographer, and they pick them because they think they're going to be a good match. So they have this photography session, the two of them. And he uses this opportunity to get close to her because he believes her father murdered his brother. And he's the vampire, and she's the vampire hunter that doesn't know she's a vampire hunter. And hunters lure vampires because their blood is so delicious. And so he's like, I just want information. I'll kill her right after. I want. So you kind of start that way, but have in mind that it goes dark. So it goes dark in a way that if you ever been in a very, very dark place in your life before, this might remember you because she's very good at check the warnings because she's very good at going into that place. And we're talking about depression, self-loathing, suicide. So it goes in there, and you would never expect it from the start. But the twists in this, even if you catch some of the big twists in at some point, the ending, it was fantastic. I just bloody loved it. It was so good.
This is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
This is going to be the first in the new series. It's coming out October 6th.
Yeah, it's a duet.
I will be reading it.
Yeah, it does, Kristen.
It does, but I bet that because of this darkness, it probably is not going to take a typical, if I consider a typical paranormal. She's doing something different here. And I really liked it. And I really liked the fact that it remembered me, those days where I read books like that, where you go dark in a way because the characters are dealing with very traumatic events. So, and our writing, this is a second series. It was so good. I'm so impressed. So
you have me so
Saying it to because I just filmed my physical TBR today for fall, but I'm doing a part 2 because I'm doing a fall ebook TBR. So
Jen from the Book Refuge was telling me about that, and I was immediately like, yes, I need that. She was saying it was kind of giving her vibes of Klaus and Caroline from the Vampire Diaries, and I was like,
oh my god,
that
is my catnip. I totally should.
And the twists in this, I'm just very impressed. I don't want to give anything away, but I'm just very impressed with what she did and how she changed the typical. When I say typical, I mean typically Immortals After Dark kind of paranormal. That's where the typical is for me. And she changed it a bit. So I'm really impressed. And
Well,
there's a
you're
lot of
lucky.
layers. There's a lot of trick. There's a lot. She did a wonderful job. I could keep on, but I don't want to give anything away.
Yeah, I'm excited because I didn't know she had another series coming out. I've still been like trying to get through the last one, like between Wrath and Mercy. I think I'm like finally like maybe halfway. I was like listening to that, or I was reading that slowly and chunking it. So I'm on board. I can't wait.
I still haven't read her first series. Like I have had between Wrath and Mercy. I've had that in my Audible library ever since it was released, and Jen sent me the paperback, and I'm just sort of like, it's almost like the hype is getting to me. Like I'm a little terrified, you know. Like I want to love it so much.
I've started
the book too. Well, it's not just the hype that's terrifying me; it's the length of the audiobook.
Yeah.
Because for me, with fantasy romance, if the first book is that long, that kind of stresses me out. Like I will pick up an 800-page first book in an epic fantasy series, but when it's fantasy romance, if the first book is more than 600 pages, I'm like, so I don't know how long the first book is, but the audiobook is like 29 hours.
It didn't felt long. So I read it physically. It didn't felt long. It felt, it was her first book, and still it had a good pace. It didn't felt long. Yeah, like Danielle said, the second book, I consumed it as well.
Yeah.
I want to read it. I want to love it.
Me too.
I think I will love it.
It's a book to have fun, right? But it's a book where, I mean, she's the mother, so we kind of represent it. You know?
Yeah.
And a second chance, you know, groveling. It has all the good things to just enjoy. So I think it's, and you can see her progress in the writing. And I'm in awe with her.
I'm thinking that Feathers from the Sky will probably get me to, when I read that, because it's coming out in October and I'm in like that sort of vibe, reading that will probably get me to go back. And like, you know, because I've been sitting on Between Wrath and Mercy too, so I'm excited that she has a new series coming out.
Yeah.
And it seems to be beloved, so, and I'm in the mood for it, so hopefully I can pick it up at the right time, you know what I mean, when the vibe strikes.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember, but I wrote in one of our videos, Steve, about Flowers to the Devil.
Yes, you did.
I need someone to read that because I am obsessed with it. And I don't know, I need friends.
Yeah.
I was so freaking impressed. So I saved that book because I know we are to, you know, make sure our reading is diverse in the readathon, BIPOC, LGBTQA. But I've been staring myself away from books written by men. Nothing that is wrong about it, but you know, I'm not a young girl. There's some trauma. So and because it's not fair at all, obviously, I gathered my courage and read Flowers for the Devil by Vlad Kahani. Oh, I
have it on my list. I have it on my list.
So dark, gothic, Victorian romance. And I used my, I'm not an Audible girl, but I used it. I had to use it when I heard the sample for the audio. Yeah. The sample of that one. I know. I needed someone to tell me if I'm crazy or not, because I just bloody loved it. You know, The Highwaymen, when, you know, Kerrigan Byrne, it's one of my favorite books, The Highwaymen, because of the dark, because of the Victorian times, because of the damaged hero, because of, you know, it kind of has that very dark, very light side, right? And she's also not a sunshine. She's also damaged. She's also has her side. And you kind of have the same here with this book, although it's more gothic, it's more dark, it's more has a more ambience to it. So
I'm excited to find the next.
Just tell me if I'm crazy, but I love this so much.
Because Kerrigan's not writing historicals anymore, and that series will always be the love. She's made a lot of changes recently. She's just writing contemporary rom-coms right now. So it makes me happy to hear that this is going to be maybe reminiscent of The Highwaymen. Not that I ever could replace that book. I love that book. But
No,
it will be nice to have a new author.
It's not replaceable because the tone is different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Amina,
Yes.
you're ready too? You're my friend. Thank you.
I really want to read it. It looks really good. I'm definitely planning.
Yes.
It does.
And there's an audiobook. And someone's saying that the Jess Weiss Cup comes out on Friday, which that's even sooner. On Amazon, it's saying
25th?
October 6th. So
Yeah.
I'm happy if it's coming out sooner than that. Shoot.
I'm truly so excited for this book. Like, I'm gonna like put my arcs on hold and read that one.
Like, it's home so good. And I'm in the vibes for it. I'm like, finally. I'm off Friday too. Yes, let's be friends.
There you go. Perfect day.
And then Hannah's
All right, my friends. I hate to ruin this party, but I've gotta go. But I want to highlight this comment because I thought it was great. Maybe we could bring this up to Maggie and see what she thinks. I'm not sure how running the Discord, who might be in charge of that, but I think that's a really fun idea.
So we
And,
actually have,
yeah.
me and Maggie actually do have a Discord community, and it's called The Hideaway. And so we started that for the same reason after Once Upon a Readathon. Everyone wanted to keep it going. So everyone that is there, we talk all things romance, fantasy, every genre basically, plus just life stuff, sharing your crafts and your arts, sharing pet pics, sharing your book hauls. We do all of that in The Hideaway. So
I'm there.
All right. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for the reading sprints. I'm hosting them next week too. Are any of you all hosting sprints sooner?
Friday on the
On that?
This Friday.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think I'm going to be having
Friday.
is going right after this, right? And then I'm going to do them on Friday.
Okay, Tiffany has them on Friday. Hannah, right now, as soon as we end here, Hannah's going to start some sprints up on her channel. I'm probably going to have them playing while I'm working, just for the company. And then I was trying to see, where is my freaking...
So for the Hideaway link, I just put it in the private chat so Crystal can share it, because I can't share links in the regular chat, but I'm sure I can get Crystal to share that for me.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll put it in the chat right now. Okay.
And then I'm going to
is...
be doing sprints over on my channel right now for anyone that wants to keep sprinting. Are any of you guys going to be there?
I will be playing them because I have a meeting, but I will be there in the comment.
Okay, so I will have sprints on my channel, same time, 11 a.m. MST, 1 p.m. EST next Tuesday, the 29th. So I'll be hosting sprints again then. But if you want to keep sprinting for today, go over to Hannah's channel, and I will have her tagged in the description as soon as this is over. I'll put her in there. So, all right, everybody, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.